You wake in the dark, but you are not alone and you are not afraid. The fire has burned down to orange coals. Somewhere close, a child shifts against a warm body, and an old man is awake, staring at the embers, waiting for his turn to sleep. You are awake too, and this is completely normal. For roughly 300,000 years, this was what a night looked like. No bed, no clock, no switch on the wall that turns the darkness off. Sleep for your ancestors was not the silent, solitary, eight-hour block of unconsciousness you have been told is natural. It was something stranger, more social and far more alive. Here is the modern number that should bother you. Surveys across industrial nations find that 1 in 3 adults now sleeps poorly, and many wake in the night convinced something is broken in them. But what if the thing you call insomnia is not a malfunction at all? What if it is a memory? Start with the ground itself. You imagine prehistory as exhausting and unsafe, and you assume your ancestors slept badly. So in 2015, a sleep researcher named Jerome Siegel at the University of California, Los Angeles, decided to actually measure it. His team strapped sleep-tracking sensors onto people in 3 groups that still live close to the way humans lived for most of our history. The San of Namibia, the Hadza of Tanzania, the Tsimane of Bolivia. These are hunter-gatherer and forager-farmer peoples, communities with no electricity, no thermostats, no glowing screens. What Siegel found broke the myth. These people did not sleep more than you. They slept less, often under 7 hours a night, but they almost never lay awake at 3 in the morning, frustrated and staring at the ceiling. There is barely a word for chronic insomnia in their languages. They slept less and they slept better. The difference was not the amount, it was the shape. So what shaped it? Not darkness the way you think. It was temperature. Siegel's team noticed that these sleepers did not drift off when the sun went down. They stayed up for hours after dark, talking, tending the fire. They fell asleep as the night air cooled, and they woke, almost as one, near the coldest moment before dawn. Your body still does this. The drop in your core temperature is one of the strongest signals your brain uses to fall asleep, which is why a cool room knocks you out and a hot one keeps you tossing. You did not invent that rule. You inherited it. Now hold that picture and let a historian complicate it. In the 1990s, a historian named Roger Ekirch was digging through old English court records, diaries, and letters, and he kept tripping over the same strange phrase. People wrote about their first sleep, and then, casually, as if everyone knew what it meant, they wrote about their second sleep. Ekirch eventually found more than 500 of these references, scattered across centuries and languages. First sleep, second sleep, as if the night came in 2 pieces. It did. Before bright artificial light flooded the evening, people across much of the world slept in 2 shifts. They went to bed not long after dark. They slept a few hours, the first sleep. Then they woke, fully and naturally, in the deep middle of the night. And here is the part that should change how you feel about 3 in the morning. They did not panic. That waking was the most peaceful hour of their day. What did they do with it? The diaries are oddly specific. They prayed. They talked quietly with whoever lay beside them. They tended the fire, checked the animals, made love. One 16th-century French doctor even noted that this was the hour couples were most likely to conceive, because they were rested, not exhausted. Some people simply lay there in a calm, drifting, half-waking state thinking. Then an hour or 2 later, they slid back down into the second sleep until morning. So let's reconstruct a night, the real night, the one your body still half expects. You are in a small shelter, or a longhouse, or a cave mouth, somewhere 15,000 years ago. The light is gone. You are not alone in a sealed bedroom. You are bunched together with kin, sharing body heat, sharing safety. You sleep your first sleep close and fast. Then your eyes open in the blackness, and the fire is low, and an older relative is already awake, keeping watch, because that is the job of the light sleepers. This is the second piece of the puzzle, and it has a name. In 1966, the structure of sleep across a night was first mapped in detail, and we learned that humans cycle through stages roughly every 90 minutes, surfacing toward wakefulness again and again. But the deeper question is why a group would let some of its members surface at different times. The anthropologist Carol Worthman argued that scattered, overlapping sleep was not a flaw. It was a defense. If everyone in the group passed out cold at the same instant, the group was helpless. Instead, sleep was staggered. Someone was always near the surface. A research team led by David Samson and Samson Nunn put this to a real test with the Hadza of Tanzania. They watched a group of more than 30 people sleeping across many nights. Out of all those hours, the number of minutes when every single person was asleep at the same time was almost zero. There was nearly always at least one person awake, often an older adult, simply because aging shifts your sleep earlier and lightens it. Worthman and Samson called this the sentinel hypothesis. The idea is brutal and beautiful at once. The fragmented sleep of the elderly, the thing modern medicine treats as decline, may be the oldest security system on Earth. A built-in night watch that protected your ancestors while they were most vulnerable. Now feel the weight of that. Your grandmother waking at 4 in the morning is not broken. She is running ancient software. And here is the twist, the part that flips the whole story. You have been told that good sleep means one unbroken block, sealed in a dark, silent, private room, behind a door. But that arrangement, the thing you treat as the gold standard, is the genuinely new and strange thing. For almost all of human history, sleeping alone in total darkness would have felt not luxurious but dangerous, even unbearably lonely. The natural sleep you are chasing was never solitary, never silent, and never one long unconscious slab. The 8-hour, single shift, alone in the dark night is the experiment. It is barely 2 centuries old. What changed it? Light. As cheap artificial lighting spread through the 1800s, the evening stretched longer and longer. The 2 sleeps compressed into one. By the early 20th century, the segmented night had nearly vanished from the industrial world, and people began to expect a single, continuous block. Then came the clock on the wall and the alarm that overrides your body's own cooling rhythm, dragging you awake on schedule instead of letting the cold dawn lift you. Ekirch makes the unsettling case that a huge share of modern middle-of-the-night insomnia is not a disorder at all. It is the ghost of the second sleep, your body waking on time for an appointment your culture canceled. So now go back to your own bedroom. It is 3 in the morning and your eyes are open, and your first instinct is fear. Something is wrong with me. But what if nothing is wrong? What if you have just slept your first sleep, exactly as your ancestors did for thousands of generations, and your body has surfaced into the quiet hour it was designed to use? The mistake is not the waking. The mistake is the story you tell about it. The panic, the reaching for your phone, the bright blue light that tells your brain it is daytime, the math about how many hours you have left. That is what turns an ancient, peaceful waking into a modern, anxious one. Your ancestors used that hour to think, to pray, to hold someone, to simply rest in the dark without demanding anything of themselves. You could too. The Siegel study showed that the people who sleep most like our ancestors are not winning by hiding from light and noise. They are winning by living in rhythm with temperature, with the group, with the natural rise and fall of the night, and by never once telling themselves that waking is failure. You inherited this body from people who slept in pieces, in company, around a fire that someone was always watching. The deepest comfort of their night was not silence or solitude. It was the certainty that they were never sleeping completely alone, that someone, somewhere in the dark, was awake and keeping watch, so the rest of them could let go. So tonight, when you wake in the dark, do not be afraid, and remember that you are not alone. You are simply doing the oldest thing your body knows how to do.